Hi, I'm Stock Investor Davis. Welcome to the channel. We're going to take a deeper look at ENPH stock today. After releasing its fiscal year-end earnings for 2023, we'll be focusing on its price to earnings and price to sales ratios, both currently and based on the guidance management has provided us, which in this case will bring us to its period ending March 31st, 2024. Then we'll close by applying our findings to its current technical chart. Before we get started, please hit that subscribe button. There are also chapters below if you want to skip ahead, and if you have any questions or notes, let me know in the comments. To begin, I have at the top ENPH's current earnings per share for the trailing 12 months, totaling $3.06 per share. The quarterly earnings making up that figure are in the top right. Upon review of its past price to earnings ratio, I decided to update it to the range shown between 40 and 140 times its earnings, effectively decreasing the reasonable low and increasing the reasonable high. Its PE ratio range is quite volatile, therefore I'll be updating this range over time as it makes sense. Using these earnings multiples, we can calculate a reasonable low of $122 and a high of $428. With the current price of $119, the price is heavily favoring the buyer side. Moving to the company's current price to sales ratio, we have a similar setup to our previous slide, with the current trailing 12-month sales at the top totaling $2.3 billion and the quarterly sales on the top right making up that figure. The company's current shares outstanding remain at 144 million shares as of its last reporting period. We divide those two figures to arrive at a sales per share figure of $15.91. I'm keeping the sales multiple between 8 and 18 times its sales. Using these multiples, we can calculate a reasonable low of $127 and a high of $286. With the current price of $119, the price is heavily favoring the buyer side. Let's now look ahead to its forward guidance. Looking at management's guidance, they have provided the following projections for its first quarter ending March 31st, 2024. Revenue to be between $260 and $300 million, gross margin between 42 and 45%, operating expense between $144 and $148 million, and a tax rate between 19 and 21%. For our purposes, we're going to split each of these ranges down the middle. When we do that, we arrive at a trailing 12-month net sales of about $1.8 billion and an estimated net income of about $290.7 million. Forecasting that the shares outstanding will remain the same at 144 million shares, we arrive at an earnings per share figure of $2.03. Then, using the PE range established earlier, we arrive at a fair value range between $81 as the low and $284 as the high. As the forecasted fair value range pulls back, it elevates the current price of $119 to the lower end of the fair value range, still favoring the buyer side. Pivoting to our price to sales ratio based on management's guidance, we can see the shaded portion is the same as the previous slide, so I'm going to focus on the unshaded portion. Using management's guidance, we can calculate a future projection for sales per share of $12.81. Using this figure along with our sales multipliers, we calculate a fair value range low of $102 and a high of $231. As the forecasted fair value range pulls back, it elevates the current price of $119 to the lower end of the fair value range, still favoring the buyer side. As a summary for our price to earnings calculations, at the top we see where it currently stands today, and on the bottom we have our forecast based on management's guidance for its Q1 2024. As a summary for our price to sales calculations, at the top we see where it currently stands today, and on the bottom we see our forecast based on management's guidance for its Q1 2024. Finally, to wrap up by looking at the technical chart, I've added some boxes to highlight areas where to me it makes sense to either add to the position in green or take profits in red. Currently, the price is within our green boxes for both valuations. Also note how the ranges are decreasing going into the next quarter. Otherwise, we have noted that the stock has been in a downtrend since September 2022 and currently near the top of that downtrend range. Potential support points if the stock continues lower are $75 and $60. While I'm not a fan of buying stocks during a downtrend because it's within our green boxed ranges, I do like the price. Further, when looking ahead to its next quarter, while the range drops lower, the price today remains near our projected green boxes, thus minimizing our potential loss and providing a high gain potential. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.